for the Eye on Sports with B-Ball Jones. Every weekday morning at 8 o'clock, right here on AM 730. Here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
There we go. Ira's got a limp microphone. Hello.
Yeah, something like that. Jeez. You know what a lemon is?
A fruit?
You know, like a lemon car?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
That microphone. Oh, boy.
The microphone or like the studio or the station?
Well,
I don't want to badmouth the station, but I'm going to badmouth the station.
you know. Welcome. Welcome to the Eye on Sports.
Hey, glad I could be here. Unlike yesterday, where I was only here in spirit.
You were here.
I know.
I wasn't here.
Excuse me. Whoa. That's loud. Hey, welcome. Good morning, everybody. Eye on Sports, B-Ball Jones.
That was a rousing start.
Yeah, Datru Guru, the true guru. He's here.
Howdy.
Yeah, welcome, guys. Yesterday you missed quite a time.
I was here for part of it.
You were here for some. I had a good time doing everything. It was a lot of fun. There wasn't that much to talk about yesterday. We did talk about the Memphis-Cincinnati game and Memphis, where they are going forward.
Were you giving baking instructions yesterday or cooking instructions for part of the show? Did you give a recipe out over the air?
In regard to what?
I don't know.
Did someone say that?
No, it just, I turned in for like a second before I called, and it sounded like you were giving baking instructions, but
You sure it wasn't a Shop and Save commercial?
it might have been. That's a good point.
I don't remember.
Might have been a shop and save.
I don't remember any cooking or baking instructions yesterday.
I only caught part of it. Ira, this cold weather is screwing with my allergies. My eyes just like they're on fire. If anybody's running near the studio, bring me some Claritin
I got some drops.
and some tweezers.
They don't sell that kind of stuff around the studio.
No, I mean, if you're going to pass a Family Dollar or a Walgreens or something.
What do you need tweezers for?
I got a unibrow situation too.
Oh, well, you can use the regular razor for that.
You could, but it just exacerbates the problem. Check that out.
A Bic?
Yeah, I mean, you can pick it.
You don't Bic between there?
Well, it's a combination of things.
Why don't you have your wife do that for you?
Yeah, okay.
Wait, you don't trust her to...
I don't trust you with that microphone.
Oh, I'm trying to make it so people can see my beautiful face while I'm talking, but...
Good Lord.
You know what? Good Lord, nothing. It's the price we pay for fame and fortune, which brings me to the thing I want to talk about.
Please.
Oh, man. I tell you what. This world, this country...
Oh, good.
Everything is
Can
just...
we go in politics?
It's not politics. It's sports. So I turn on ESPN, which, is always a mistake. And I'm not talking about ESPN Radio, I'm talking about ESPN television. You turn it on, and they're talking to Kyrie Irving.
Although, remind me when you're finished, we'll talk about ESPN Radio. Go ahead.
The Celtics are getting ready to play the Warriors tonight. And Kyrie Irving is talking about he didn't get into this so he can have cameras in his face all the time. When he was,
Okay, buddy.
When he was younger, he thought it would be great to be famous. Now he just wants to play basketball at a high level.
Oh, that's great.
Now,
you should go play in
yes,
Europe.
thank you. Number one, it would be very easy. First of all, I love this part. When I was younger, okay? Bro, you're 26. You've got your whole life ahead of you. You want to end this shenanigans? You could end it at the end of this NBA season.
Pull a Barry Sanders. Put your money where your mouth is. Walk
Walk
away, buddy.
away. He didn't even. But if he wants to just play basketball, he could play basketball. He could step away. After a year, no one will be talking about him.
Sign up for the 30 and over at the JCC. Go play some basketball.
He could do that, or he could
Not
go.
old enough yet, Jay.
He could go play. He could go play somewhere else, and not have to worry about being famous. Probably not. That's probably not the case because he's so good. He's bound to be famous wherever he plays. He just might not have to be able to. He might not be able to play basketball, or he might have to say, "Look, in the off season, I'm going to fly in all my buddies, Durant, whoever, Carmelo, LeBron, and I'm just going to play pickup with them in the summer, and that's when I'm going to play basketball. Okay, here's the thing. If he didn't want to be famous, why did he make a movie? Why did he allow his sponsor Pepsi to put him in a movie as the Uncle Drew character, which was, by the way, one of the dumbest ideas I've ever heard. A great ad campaign doesn't equal.
Did you see it?
I saw as many minutes as I could bear.
People love that movie. Look,
wait a minute. Yep, people love the Geico caveman commercials. How'd the TV show do?
I said people love the movie.
I know. I'm just saying.
Here's my take. I'll go.
I'm not finished.
Oh, please.
I was looking at a list of players, okay, who have played basketball at a high level and continue to play basketball at a high level, but do not endure the cameras in the face, the fame, the paparazzi, the constant, if this guy says, I'm going to get M&Ms, does he like peanut or plain? The constant barrage of media attention.
What do you mean you were looking at a list? Where was the list?
Looking at a list of players and what their salaries are. Okay? Let me ask you a question. Would you say that Paul Millsap has played basketball at an extremely high level for a long period of time?
Yeah.
Would you say that he's famous or that he's a good basketball player?
I mean,
which one takes precedence over the other?
He's not a frontline celebrity.
There you go.
That's what you're saying.
$30 million a year, okay?
But he's famous, by the way.
He's famous in a way that if you follow basketball, you would know who he is. Your sister probably...
If he's walking around Oklahoma City, is that where he plays now?
No, Denver.
Denver.
Right. If you say to your sister, Paul Millsap, she's going to say, oh, who's that, your dry cleaner?
Yeah.
She probably doesn't know who that is. And there's a lot of guys on that list, okay? More than what's on the list of guys that are like Kyrie Irving, okay? So, and I understand, look, and when people say it's hard to be famous, I'm not disagreeing with that. And if they're going to complain about that, I do feel for them. I mean, I'm not talking about just athletes. I'm talking about actors, whatever, etc. It can't be easy. Like every time you flip on, if I click on the Daily Mail or if you click on TMZ and you see Ben Affleck and his kids and his ex-wife and they're going to church, that can't be easy to have those pictures every single time you leave the house splash somewhere. And if you're an athlete, it can't be easy either. But if you're gonna walk the walk, you got to talk the talk, whatever. I mean, vice versa. Like you said, you can't be in a movie, you can't be doing commercials if you don't want to be famous. You don't want to be famous, play basketball, go home, don't say anything. Eventually, you're just going to be a great player on the team.
Yeah, my take is it's not necessarily wrong for him to come out and say, I never really wanted to be famous. He may have just, although it probably is wrong, it's probably not true. If you had recordings of him with his buddies when he was in high school and being recruited and going to Duke, he probably absolutely wanted to be an NBA All-Star and become famous. He may, however, have been primarily motivated by just the desire to play basketball, and that's fine.
Which is fine.
But here's where he is. And like you said, it's not as if he's shied away from it. So essentially, I'm with you. I have no sympathy. Although I did read an article quoting the commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver, one of the weirdest looking dudes in sports.
He is odd looking. He's the white Cassell.
The white who? Oh, Sam Cassell. Except taller, I think.
Well, yeah, but he's just got that alien look.
In any event, he said that what surprised him most, he had some candid conversations with multiple NBA players recently, and what surprised him the most was that, generally speaking, NBA players are unhappy. They are depressed. That mental health is a big issue with the NBA, which doesn't surprise me, but also no sympathy.
Yeah, I'll have to agree with that. I mean, that's the thing. It's very difficult. It's a fine line. Mental health, and you and I both know, often, personally, just because you have money or even if you're in a job that you love, it's not going to necessarily make you happy, or it's not going to necessarily prevent you from having mental health issues. Okay, That can be a chemical imbalance. It can be anything, a number of factors. How you grew up, your whatever it is. Okay, but if you are a professional athlete who's making millions of dollars and that could be comfortable for the rest of your life just based on being able to play basketball, even only for a few years, if you're able to make it to your second contract, so let's say you're able to stay in the league for 8 years, your first 4 years on a rookie deal, and then another contract for 4 years, no matter what that number is, even if it's the league minimum, if you are even just a little bit smart with your money, that's going to last you a long time. Now, if you're an NBA player and you're unhappy, in the sense of your mental health, you really got to step back and evaluate things, because do you really think you're going to be much happier going to work in a law office 8-10 hours a day, managing property 8-10 hours a day, selling insurance 8-10 hours a day, without a college degree? Now you're more limited on the type of jobs you can have, and I don't know how happy you're going to be in any of those.
Shoveling dung.
Shoveling dung, you might be happy because it's a brainless, some jobs are typically, they don't require much brain power where you're able to just, I'm not saying all manual labor is like this. I would say some lower tier manual labor is like this, where it's you can just sit there and kind of daydream the whole time while you're going through the motions, and that could make you happy.
That's a whole nother conversation, but
it's not what I'm saying. You're not going to be, if that's your only livelihood, I don't know how thrilled you're going to be, to go home, to go to your palatial 1-bedroom imitation apartment versus your, multi-million-dollar house in the suburbs.
The article I read, and I wish I could remember where I got it from so I could offer proper attribution to the author and the publication, but I don't, so we'll just keep talking about it. Silver went on to say that he saw a distinction between the modern player and, for example, and he used the example of Michael Jordan's Chicago Bulls, who were a true band of brothers. Whereas the modern player has really taken this whole idea that it's a business and it's a job kind of to the extreme, which it is. It absolutely is. You cannot avoid that. But it's also a game, and it should be fun, and it should be competitive. And somehow the modern game seems to have lost a little bit of that. And they even went on to talk about the whole phenomenon of players teaming up. And he indicated that wasn't really motivated by what you would think it would be, that they want to play together and they want to kind of be a band of brothers, but that maybe I didn't finish it, or the point didn't come through of why exactly that's happening, but it just painted a grim picture of today's NBA player. Mark, you follow the NBA. What is your take on today's game, today's athlete versus what maybe you saw 20 years ago?
Before you answer it, Jay, quick question in regard to what you're talking about. Did the article focus more on the stars of the game or just the game in general?
I think it was mostly about the stars. But,
okay. All right.
But it was also the game in general.
Okay. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, two things. First of all, I think that Kyrie, kind of, I heard what you're saying is, I don't watch ESPN for that reason. To me, that's a made-up story.
No, it's not a made-up story. I watched the press conference.
Right. But what I'm saying is if ESPN shows it, doesn't really talk about it, no one else is talking about it. I think that's why I think they make up a lot of those stories because they have nothing else to talk about. There's 30 other NBA teams. There's a lot you could talk about. What a guy says in press conference shouldn't really be one of them, especially like you said, he made a movie and all that.
Except, is he one of the top 10 named stars of the NBA?
Yeah, he's probably around.
Well, there you go.
So Let me read a few of these quotes.
Wait, hold on.
Go ahead.
And so back to what you're saying, I completely get why some of these players aren't happy. You can never do anything right? Take Durant, for example. Hey, I didn't win with Oklahoma City. I get ostracized for that. Everyone's on my butt for not winning Oklahoma City. I go to Golden State to win. Oh, now everyone's on my butt because I'm going to jump into the bandwagon. So I think no matter what these players do, they can never do anything right. There's always criticism. There's always, you did something wrong. And I think that's a big deal.
Except again, that's why I asked Jay to clarify. We're talking about the stars. When Richard Jefferson went from San Antonio to Cleveland to the Warriors, just back to San Antonio, back to Cleveland to wherever, so he bless you, towards the end of his career, so he could have more chances to win titles. No one was jumping on Richard Jefferson's back because he was just a role player.
Right.
So I'm saying, so now when, Jay, you're talking about Silver, talking about primarily the stars and about the business aspect, so now you're talking about what you're really getting into the guts of the matter is they're not happy because they're required to do more than just play basketball. For instance, if you're a LeBron James and you're going to want to have a movie company, you got to have a guy to run that company. And he's got people under him, and they got people under them, and they got to report to people. It's a business. And then if you're going to have an agent that's going to try and put you in commercials, well, you're going to want to know about the commercials, the products, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's not just showing up and shooting the commercial. So it's now he's in a multi-tiered business as a star by his own choice, don't get me wrong, to try and have his hand in as many things as possible, to make as much money as possible. His kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, they should never have to work if they don't want to. Being a star, that's where the issue really comes in, is because the stars, the bigger they get, the more people they have that they want to take care of, or the more pies they want to put their fingers in as far as businesses, side gigs, whatever. Those require extreme oversight so you don't end up, writing a check to Bernie Madoff for $50 million and then wake up one day and all your money's gone. So it's more responsibility, and that's, guess what? There are a lot of people in the real world that have to deal with that same responsibility, and they don't get to play basketball as their main job.
I don't think those pressures have changed all that much. I just think,
dude, you would not. I mean, first of all, the guys that were doing other stuff other than basketball during during our childhood of the 80s, whatever, basketball. I mean, you could put it on one hand. Larry Bird had Larry Bird Chevrolet in the middle of Indiana. He just basically loaned his name to. Magic Johnson had a couple of things going outside of basketball. And Jordan was really the first guy to start to become a brand and a business in and of itself. But then there was nobody really else that was doing that.
Well, no, I actually agree with that. The number of players with whom celebrity attaches, you're right, that has gone up because of social media and because of everything else. I don't think it's maybe I misheard you. I don't think it's the pressure of, managing money or.
It's not just managing your money. It's
I don't think we disagree. I see what you're saying.
Right.
Managing fame.
You're managing fame, but you're also having them have to manage people as well. Shaq, the person to ask about that, if you're a Kyrie Irving or anybody else, I would think would be Shaq. I mean, Shaq was really the first guy to have, other than Jordan, to have a real business entity other than him being a basketball player. He was doing the rap. He was doing the movies. He was doing tons of commercials. And dude looks like one of the happiest guys on the planet to me. But I don't know. All right, we'll take a quick break. We come back. We may talk more about this. Whatever, we'll talk about ESPN Radio, and I got some other beef with them too. So we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi there. Are you a large person, pleasantly plump, a little on the hefty side perhaps? Well, let's face it. Are you fat? When you go jogging, do you leave potholes? When you make love, do you have to give directions? At the zoo, do elephants throw you peanuts?
What,
Do you look at a menu and say, okay? Well, now you can eat all you want. Because at Thornton Mellon's tall and fat stores, we've got you covered. That's right, fine wool. And wool and blend suits and sport coats in all the larger sizes. Husky, stop, extra stuff, and the new Hickenberg line. And for you ladies, we have caftans, boots, and our own exclusive A-frame in all colors and patterns. Yes, we have miles and miles of fabric. So take it from me, Thornton Mellon. If you want to look thin, you hang out with fat people. Thornton Mellon's tall and fat. 50 locations across America. Yeah, if that dress had pockets, you'd look like a pool table. You should try my tall and fat stores. No offense.
Just cool it.
It's that time of year again. We're Just Cooling. Call Just Cooling Refrigeration for all your heating and air needs. They specialize in residential and commercial. For a complete listing of all the services that they provide, contact them at www.justonecooling.com. Again, www.justonecooling.com. They're licensed, bonded, and insured for over 18 years. Give them a call, 901-848-1772. You want to be cool? You know I do. Give them a call, 901-848-1772.
Time to make
Trojan celebrates vacations.
Get a decent night's sleep for once. And overnight folks will want fresh Dunkin' Donuts.
It takes a lot of willpower to make Dunkin' Donuts fresh, but we think it's worth it.
But we think it's worth it.
And you'll think it's worth it. There's something really delicious in this week's newspaper. Look for Dunkin' Donuts money-saving coupon in your local newspaper.
Hey everybody, the Ion Sports here to tell you about Advatech. Advatech is a local IT company that manages your business's computer network and technology. They make sure your network is secure to prevent any type of security breach which could possibly compromise your company's information or your customers' information. Advatech is a one-stop shop for any computer problems. No need to waste valuable time on calling tech support. One call, they will handle everything for you. Advatech can also help you save on average $500 a month on your office phones and internet costs by doing a vendor cost analysis for their customers. If you own a business and are tired of frustrating computer issues, call Advatech. Advatech, we are your IT department. Call 901-262-7925 or email support at advatech.com. ADVATEK. Advatech 262-7925.
84.
Put it back in its place. Let that look around my face. Time for me to draw the line. Getting caught up all the time.
Welcome back to the Ion Sports with B-Ball Jones and Dutcher Guru. It is March 5th. Oh, boy. I was having trouble with his microphone this morning. Quick story while we're waiting for him to get that straightened out.
Yeah, turn my mic off, Mark.
This courtesy of the Daily Memphian. Alex Lomax had his jersey retired at East High School last night during, I guess, East High's 85-67 win over Bolton.
Bolton who?
The Wildcats.
That's right.
East retired Lomax's, I guess he won number 2 at East.
Sure.
I think that's right. Anyway, congratulations to him. That's a nice honor. Had a great run there. Multiple state championships.
Is East the favorite to win the championship again?
You know, that's a good question. I don't know. Well, we really need Varlas. We need our boy Varlas.
John Varlas, call the show, 452-3094. I know you're listening.
Yeah. Anybody call the show, 452-30.
Yeah, that's true. They could call the show.
94. So that was local. And then, of course, this week being a bye week, which is so odd. The final week of the regular season, Memphis doesn't play until Saturday against Tulsa. Little tune-up for the conference tournament.
The school's also on spring break.
That means nothing.
It means nothing for the players, but it might mean something for...
I don't think that's why. I think it's just how the schedule fell. And if I were Penny Hardaway, Tom Bowen, I would have scheduled a non-conference game, some sort of tune-up game. Just stay in rhythm.
Yeah, easier said than done, though. But, because, I mean, you know, some of these other smaller conferences are going to be starting their tournaments this week. It's funny because I was talking to, when I do these baseball games, the kids that are, that are majoring in sports marketing, they have to work, a certain number of these games as part of their fulfillment for their degree. So they were all talking about, going on spring break. And, one girl was going to Salt Lake City with her boyfriend, and this young man was going to, I'm leaving for Gulf Shores tomorrow, and this other young lady was going to South Padre Island. And I was like, that sounds like a lot of fun. And I was like surprised that none of them asked me what I was doing for spring break. And it's been a while, but probably not as long as you would think for someone who's my age. that someone, a younger type person said, "Oh, hey, what are you doing for winter break? What are you doing for summer vacation? What are you doing for spring break?"
Yeah, spring break happens because, of kids and stuff. You guys doing anything, you going anywhere, and
Right.
whatever.
Winter break, I guess technically to me, if you're an adult and someone asks you about winter break and you don't have kids, winter break is basically the week between Christmas and New Year's,
Right.
when not a lot of work gets done.
Oh, that's the weird week. We talked about that.
It's a weird week.
A couple notes from around the National Basketball Association since we were on the topic.
Sure.
Yesterday I heard on another show, and it makes sense, the Lakers have really faded from playoff contention. The word now is that Luke Walton will definitely not be back next season as the head coach.
Can't really,
If you had to name the top 3 candidates, and I really want Mark's opinion on this since, he knows a little bit more about sports right now than we do. Mark, top 3 candidates to be the Lakers' next head coach. Go.
Tyronn Lue. That's a joke.
Why is that a joke?
I heard that name thrown out yesterday, too.
But he won a championship with LeBaron in Cleveland, right?
And he played for the Lakers. But anyway.
Yeah, that's the kind of coach LeBron wants. I feel like LeBron wants to be that player's coach, so he doesn't want someone coming in there doing a bunch of changes. I think he kind of wants someone that he can, I won't say control, but have a say with. Not like, one of these guys that's coming in.
So give me the top 3 candidates if you know them. Maybe you have no
be
clue.
honest.
Ira, give me the top 3 in your mind.
Top 3 candidates would
Don
be
Nelson, Phil Jackson, and who else? Riles?
Golly, man, you're like reading my mind. Well, Riles obviously not, because Riles is comfortable being a team president. But Phil Jackson, Don Nelson, and is Doug Moe still alive?
I don't know. I hope so.
No, I would have to say that I would like to see LeBron be open to play for anyone. Really it's weird. I think that they might try and go for a guy that's already been a coach in LA, Mike D'Antonio. Mike D'Antoni.
I was gonna maybe Magic Johnson.
Ooh, there you go.
See, that's the thing about Magic Johnson. He's got too much other stuff going on.
Okay, let's break this down since I love this stuff. Nothing I love more than the coaching carousel. Courtesy of 247 Sports, here are the candidates that are off the board you might want, but they're off the board. Pat Riley, Doc Rivers, Rudy Gobert. Wait a minute, excuse me, that was different. Not Rudy Gobert. He was in the article, highlighted.
Don't touch me.
Highlighted. Krzyzewski, Patino.
No.
How about this name, Mark? Kobe Bryant.
No.
Nope.
Okay. Phil Jackson.
He won't do it.
Eric Spoelstra.
He won't do it.
You think he likes Miami?
I don't actually. You know what? Spoelstra might not be a bad idea. He's been there a long time. It might be time for a change of scenery for him.
Jason Kidd.
I still have never understood the whole thing with how he got ixnayed from Milwaukee May.
He's hard to work with. Stan Van Gundy.
No Van Gundy's. Period.
Juwan Howard.
He's been doing his time as an assistant. I don't know. He might be that player's coach kind of guy that LeBron's looking for, but I don't really see that happening.
Tom Thibodeau.
No.
He's too much of a hard ass.
Yeah.
Mark Jackson.
I never understood why he got let go from Golden State.
What about Dave Yeager?
Wait, who?
Mark Jackson.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't bad.
Dave Yeager, there you go. He's got a job.
Yeah.
Mike Brown. These names are mud.
Mike Brown's
Scott Brooks. Jay Wright, Villanova. Hey, how about this? You ready? Everybody get quiet. Johnny Calipari. He's on the list.
This article's like, let me just throw out every single head coach anyone's ever heard.
These are good names, though. John Calipari, LeBron.
Pete Carroll, Bob
LeBron,
Knight.
L.A. I could see Calipari wanting to do it.
Jim Boeheim.
They're just throwing out names that people have heard before. I don't think there's.
Okay, let me read you why Calipari would do it. You ready? Based on his Rolodex, he and Anthony Davis are close. Following their championship, okay, this article's garbage because it says at Villanova. They played at Kentucky.
Yeah.
Okay, John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins, Devin Booker, Karl Anthony Towns, all passed through. John Calipari at Kentucky.
All non-winners.
Johnny Calipari going to the Lakers.
All non-winners.
None of them have ever won a championship.
Well, first of all, a lot of them are still young.
Kevin McHale?
Booker is only not a winner because he's never been on a team that's any good. I would say I would not want any part of John Wall. Cousins, the book is still out. I think Karl Anthony Towns I think he seems to be a thoughtful guy, and I'd be willing to say he's not going to be a loser his whole career in the NBA.
You're a loser. What is that movie? You're a loser.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
It's ringing a bell.
Yeah.
You said something about ESPN radio. It just got me thinking before we can get to that, if what your story was. But, I turned on national sports talk radio, ESPN radio, and not the local shows, but the national stuff. And I'm going to if I ever get time and I'm really bored and I've run out of, toenails to clip or dots on the ceiling to count, I'm going to get a stopwatch and just time of every hour of one of their shows, how much time they devote to talking about the NFL during the off season. I mean, like last night I was driving around and I was trying to get in position to see my new billboard. By the way, if you see the new Lipsy Realty billboard.
Yeah, it looks great.
Let me guess what they were talking about, Ira. So-and-so's 40-yard dash at the combine. He's going to be really good in this 7.3 second shuffle on the cones. He's going to be a real NFL player.
I love the voice. That was pretty awesome.
Was that McShay or who was that?
It doesn't matter. It's yes. The answer is yes to basically anybody you say. So anyway, I was driving. It was like 7:30 at night. I'm like trying to get in position. I was trying to see the billboard, the Lipsy Realty billboard at I-240 in Poplar. And I'm like, and I just blindly had on 92.9, and here's a show, and they're talking about. You could be talking about college basketball. You could be talking about pro basketball. You talk about spring training, even. I mean, whatever. And they're talking about the combine and the measurements, and they're talking about Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, and I'm like, they're not going to start playing football for another 6 or 7 months, or whatever it is. I mean, I refuse to believe. Now, believe me, I don't refuse to believe in the NFL's popularity, and I certainly feel like there are tons of people who love the NFL more than anything, but I refuse to believe there are people out there who are that enamored with the NFL that they can really sit there and listen to people talking about, well, who are the top suitable candidates for Antonio Brown? And if he goes to Arizona,
look, I want to make
are they gonna draft Kyler Murray? Is Kyler Murray too short? Does he have big enough hands? And I'm like, this is just complete overkill. And I just don't get it. I wish someone could explain it to me. I really do.
I mean, SiriusXM is the same way.
Oh, I'm sure.
We had to start talking about football in June. It's it's middle of baseball season. Oh, well, the draft just happened. It's
okay, well, give us the inside scoop. Do you have any idea why that editorial decision was made? Because I have a theory for.
Well, they just said, that's what people want to know. That's what they listen to. And surprisingly enough, you do a show in June or July on football, and there's people calling in about it. They have questions. Now, a lot of it was fantasy related. But I mean, even so, you're like, dude, this is 3 months before the season. What kind of fantasy questions?
What kind of loser are you?
Pretty much.
Yeah. All right, we'll talk NFL. I'll tell you right now, we'll talk NFL any day, any time.
We'll get
no matter what we're talking about, we'll be happy to talk NFL. You call the show, 452-3094. We will have any information you want about any player you want, about the combine. We will have the information. If not, we'll make it up. And if you just call the show, and then we'll tell you anything you want to know about the NFL, and we'll be happy to talk about it. And that'll be the true indication.
For ESPN, if they don't make these guys a story, they won't be a story, and it will affect their bottom line. So that's all it is it's a narrative. And some people, like Mark said, compared to college basketball, compared to pro hockey, compared to baseball,
it's huge.
It's bigger. I don't know if it's
way
huge.
Bigger.
I don't think the ratings. I mean, if you follow a lot of the TV sports business articles, speaking of which, we're on the verge of hearing a new TV contract for the ACT.
Oh, yeah.
But if you follow any of the sports business, the ratings on stuff like, whatever that crap show is, which one were you talking about? Wake Up.
Oh, Get
Up.
Yeah.
And then what's the one in the afternoon where they're all sitting at the Levitar, First Take. The ratings on those shows are like about as good as the ratings for the reruns of Brady Bunch on TBS.
No, that may be true, but if you're talking about football in general versus any other sport, like the Motor City Bowl between Arkansas State and Akron.
Oh, yeah, outrates the NBA game of the night.
Right, exactly. Or the college basketball game of the night. I mean, it kills it, which is, I guess, understandable to some extent, but that's the action on the field, right?
It's the fact. It's the fact.
That's the action on the field. That's the actual game. The nonstop discussion about the combine and the OTAs and the Kyler Murray and his hand size, and it's just like
it's the modern day equivalent of like tire pushing or Lou Ferrignon or whoever it was.
What? Darren Soul, World's Strongest Man competition.
Yeah, that stuff. Or billiards.
Dude, do not knock billiards. What was
televised billiards?
What was the Asian lady's name? The Black Widow, something
in billiards?
Like Margaret the Black Widow Ang or something, and she was like unbelievable.
Yeah, and then they had the trick shot billiards. That was really cool.
That's some good stuff.
Bowling.
They have darts on TV sometimes too, but I'll refuse to watch darts.
Who was the bowler? The
Pete Weber.
Not Munson, but the other guy.
Big Earn McCracken?
Yeah, McCracken, Big Earn.
Yeah. Guy's a legend on the tour.
What hair? What hair?
The turban.
Hey. Not you. You. Hey.
He's like, hey.
Why don't you take that outside? Go eat that outside. Come back in when you're finished. Big Earn McCracken, people.
Oh, man. Which reminds me of something in Tommy Boy when Aykroyd's like, a little heavy on the Pine Tree air freshener, huh there, pal? He's like, yeah, it's a taxi cab air freshener. Oh, you pinpointed it.
Right.
Next step
is washing it off.
Wash it off.
Right.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back after this with more exciting stuff.
You really sold it there, Ira.
Hey, come back. We're going to have a great time. We're going to have trivia. And we're going to give away a lot of stuff, maybe even a brand new car.
We'll be right back.
AM 1600.
You experience feelings of dread when you face an attic? Have you or any of your family ever seen a spook, specter, or ghost?
If the answer is yes, then don't wait.
Go sell some insurance, buddy.
The professionals.
Ghostbusters.
Our courteous and efficient staff is on call 24 hours a day to serve all your supernatural elimination.
Yeah, it's like
I
have a very honest golf instructor. This is Sheldon Rosengarten with Marks Bensdorf Realtors. My instructor is Marty Fulton, a PGA Life member whom you may remember from Plantation, Whispering Woods, or Holiday Golf Club. When I asked him what I might do to improve my game, Marty, what did you tell me?
Sheldon, I told you to get your clubs together, put them in your car, then take them to the nearest lake and toss them in.
Great, Marty. You're a big help.
Sheldon, you're far better at selling homes than you'll ever be at golf. That's why people often say when you want the job done, call Sheldon.
Thanks, Marty. And if you or someone you know is thinking about selling their home, you should talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers and make sure that I am one of them. Find out the difference in what they do in my highly successful strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option. You or they can reach me at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. That's Sheldon Rosengarten at 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com. Do it now.
Get your seashell, grab a stick of juicy fruit. The taste is gonna move ya. Take a sniff, pull it out. The taste is gonna move you when you pop it in your mouth. Juicy fruit is gonna move ya. The juice is soft, it gets right to ya. Juicy fruit, the taste is gonna move ya. Just cool it.
It's that time of year again. We're Just Cooling. Call Just Cooling Refrigeration for all your heating and air needs. They specialize in residential and commercial. For a complete listing of all the services that they provide, contact them at www.justoncooling.com. Again, www.justoncooling.com. They're licensed, bonded, and insured for over 18 years. Give them a call, 901-848-1772. You want to be cool? You know I do. Give them a call, 901-848-1772.
Sidewinder, the wheel twist behind her. It's the big new Sidewinder cycle. Your parents put it together, and Sidewinder's got the stunt shifter. Sidewinder. With sure grip steering, super sleek styling, and a stunt shifter that can spin you into excitement. Sidewinder, the wheel twist behind her. Sidewinder cycle with stunt shifter. New from Tonka.
Welcome back to the Ion Sports with B-Ball Jones. It is 8:44, final segment of the day. You're listening to AM 1600 or AM 730, or perhaps you're watching on YouTube Live. Either way, welcome. We have been discussing various news, notes, and anecdotes from around the NBA. Ira, the other coach that might be on the hot seat, and I really hope this guy gets fired, because I happen to know people that know him and think he's a jerk, and you've defended him here. Rick Carlisle, longtime coach of the Dallas Mavericks, quoted after the Mavericks dropped a 39-point game to the Brooklyn Nets. This was following another 30-point loss in the previous game.
Did you hear that just then?
I heard a little dung.
You did, okay.
Yeah, dung.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Carlisle says it was ugly from start to finish. He said that of the 127-88 loss to the Nets. So his team packing it in. Now, they're not a playoff team.
Let me just interrupt you real quick. It was not that I have never defended Rick Carlisle about whether or not he was a jerk. I only defended Rick Carlisle because I thought he was a good coach.
Yeah, I understand. So we'll keep an eye on that. I love a little coaching carousel, and we'll see what what happens in the offseason. Come again, Dean?
A fine example, you said.
Ah, yes. Is he talking to me or Rick Carlisle?
Rick Carlisle.
Yeah, he sets a fine example. He looks better with the shaved head than he did with the thinning hair, but So that's the NBA, Ira. As I said, it feels weird. We're barreling towards the conference tournaments in college basketball. We don't even have a game this week. But late game on Saturday. Is that an 8:30 start?
That's correct.
At FedEx Forum Senior Night? That is an odd one.
I imagine that the
Grizzlies must play a day game or something? Or that's TV?
I'm not sure about the Grizzlies at all on that day, but I think it must be the I would imagine the senior day festivities will take place before the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's typically, well, you never know. Every coach seems to do it a little bit differently. They used to do it, no, Memphis has always done it before the game. Memphis has always done it before the game, I think.
I would say maybe in the last 20 years, yes.
Most memorable senior day for you.
When we were kids, they definitely did it in the halftime.
Yes.
Oh, most memorable, easy. I mean, my favorite all-time player.
Drop it on me.
Keith Lee.
Yeah, me too. Because they retired his jersey right there at senior day.
Oh, yeah.
They said, it's done. Hang it from the rafters, 24, put it up there.
Plus, it didn't hurt that my birthday's on the 24th, and then we hit the 24th, so I always had that connection.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Very good.
The Grizzlies don't even play on Saturday.
They don't? So that must be purely
They play Friday night against the Jazz, and then they play that. That's it. So I don't know. I don't know why so I guess it must be for TV.
It's all about the mighty dollar, Ira. The TV, the Benjamins. That's how it goes. Yes. Ira, did you see that the BBC, that would be the British Broadcasting Corporation, I'm not sure if this is real or not, but the article's out. that they may be pulling all Michael Jackson videos because he was a pederast? Like Hanrahan?
You know, it's funny that someone posted on Twitter that said if you had to watch I think it was Douglas. I think it was Runger from Douglas and Runger.
I thought you were going to say Douglas Moe of Doug Moe.
Nah. I think Kurt said that if you had to watch whatever it is, Neverland, to realize that Jackson was a pederast, then you were an idiot. Now, you know...
It's a good point.
It's a pretty fair point.
That's why he's our official lawyer
But
of the show.
I think, again, you know, if you're talking about Michael Jackson music videos, you know, if you're gonna pull Michael Jackson music videos because of whatever this documentary alleges, then, you know, I imagine you should take off any Motley Crue stuff. Vince Neil killed a lady. You need to take off, what's his name? The peer, the tinkler. What's his name?
R. Kelly?
Yeah, R. Kelly. Take off all his videos. I mean, you know, basically you should take off anybody who you think has done anything illegal or whatever. I mean, you know, it's if you're gonna have that type of attitude as far as, you know, your belief in celebrities or your belief that celebrities are people who make great music, they can't be, you know, they shouldn't be criminals, or you're not gonna have anything to do with that. That you know where you're living.
How about Fantasyland?
Absolutely. March 5th, 1983. What is that, 36 years ago? Good God. 17 and 19, that's 36, right?
I'm not a mathematician, pal.
That's a lot of numbers.
For me, it is.
Billie Jean by Michael Jackson was the #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100 this day 36 years ago.
What's your favorite Michael Jackson song?
We talked about this a few weeks ago. It's hard to pick. I'll tell you what I love, and people make fun of me for this. It's not a Michael Jackson song, but he was in it. No, I get tired of Man in the Mirror. No, Billie Jean was really good. Dirty Diana, good. And he had some funky stuff, you know, whatever. I'm not going to answer that question in a smart way. I did like that USA for Africa combo.
We Are the World?
Yeah, it's very good.
We Are the World is awesome.
It was very good. Very good.
Go back and listen to it now, and you look at like all the people that were.
That was incredible. They did a good job.
Dylan, Dionne Warwick.
All of them.
Bruce, all of them.
All of them.
My favorite Jackson song, I think, is probably...
I think Ray Charles was in that.
Don't Stop Till You Get Enough.
Okay. March 5th, 1982, John Belushi found dead of an apparent drug overdose at the age of 33. Rest in peace. I came along after Belushi, so...
You know,
when I looked at his clips, I mean, Animal House was where that was probably my favorite Belushi. I mean, it was clearly my favorite Belushi. The stuff I see from him on Saturday Night Live, like the samurai sword guy, it's not even funny.
Some of it's not that great, but what about Blues Brothers?
For the 50th time on the show, I have to tell you, I've never really seen it. So,
well,
I realized...
For the 51st time on the show, watch it, dummy.
Okay. March 4th, 1988. That means one time. If I've said that 50 times and you've told me 51, that means one time you've just told me that totally unsolicited.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least once.
March 4th, 1988, Ira, the film Moving.
Shut up, fool.
Starring Richard Pryor was released in theaters. You seen it?
I've seen it. You know, it's late Pryor.
It is definitely late Pryor. But there's some memorable stuff from that movie. We're taking him with us!
It's not great.
Well,
but
just like,
yeah, dude, we know. It's not a great movie. It's pretty funny. If you're talking about late Pryor, you're talking about Harlem Nights, which is obviously the best one. See No Evil, Hear No Evil was pretty good. Moving is pretty good.
But let's talk about Moving for a minute, Ira.
Okay.
Do you remember the scene? You know, they're selling the house. Or they're buying the house. They finally find the house, and they come in and they say, oh, we like these cabinets. And the guy goes, oh, too bad, we're taking them with us. Ha, 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 ha. And they think he's kidding. Right? Oh, I love that, those windows. Oh, we're taking them with us. Exactly. And then they show up, and guess what?
The cabinets are gone.
They took it all with them. They gutted the house.
I like the daughter.
I don't remember the daughter.
I can't remember who it was.
My favorite line from that movie shows up. How's it hanging? To the left. It's really not funny in
I was going to
retrospect.
say, how's it hanging jokes are rarely funny.
Yeah, well, it peaked. How's it hanging peaked in that movie. And then, of course, at the end, you know what happens at the end, right? He shows up to his first day of work. He's finally settled in.
Yeah. What movie?
Do you remember what happened?
Then the company?
Yeah, mass layoffs. The company goes under.
Yeah.
We're all moving to Hawaii.
Yeah. What year was that? Do you have any idea?
Moving?
Yeah.
Yeah, 1988.
Oh, 88? Okay.
Yeah.
So Harlem Nights was probably also
31 years ago. It was around then.
88,
Yeah.
87.
Yeah. Okay, Ira, here's a little trivia. On March 4th, 1985, this female artist was on the cover of Newsweek magazine.
Madonna.
With the title Rock and Roll Woman Power.
Oh, probably
not Madonna.
1980 what?
What year? Let me see. I think it was 85. Yeah, 85. I'll give you a hint. Her name is... Yeah, go ahead.
Her name... All right, what's the hint?
Here's the hint. Her name was dropped in the other famous 80s movie, which I think is very famous. Very, very good cult classic type movie, Just One of the Guys. Her name was dropped in the movie Just One of the Guys.
That doesn't help me, but...
Oh, right, and I'm Cyndi Lauper.
Cyndi Lauper.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Do you remember the scene?
Yeah.
What was most memorable about that scene?
Her boobs.
I didn't
that wasn't
say
the
that.
boob scene, was it?
Yes, it was. Oh, you're a woman? Oh, right, and I'm Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, then she rips her shirt open.
Right.
Great careers for Joyce Hauser, the breast shower.
That's her name?
I think that's her.
You're kidding me.
I think that's the actress. You can look it up.
Joyce Hauser?
I think that's what it is.
Is it Hauser Men?
Hauser. I believe that's the actress's name. And then also for Rick.
Oh, my God. Just One of the Guys.
Was I
Maybe
right?
the best movie ever. Let me find out. I got the IMDb pulled up.
All right, good.
Directed by Lisa Gottlieb, 1985.
Oh, Gottlieb.
Joyce Hauser.
Hauser.
Terry Griffith.
Yeah.
Clayton Ronner played Rick Morehouse. God, you should take a look at this guy today.
Hey, by
Billy
the way,
Jane played Buddy Griffith.
Yeah, and you know
Zapka.
Zapka, of course.
What a film.
Dude, that is, you know what? That is a great movie.
It's unbelievable.
And Sherilyn Fenn.
I could watch that movie right now.
Sherilyn Fenn, right, is the girl, Sandy?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. No, it's absolutely right. Sherilyn Fenn. Terry Griffith has got it all. Looks, popularity, the perfect college boyfriend, and an article that's a shoo-in to win the summer internship. But when her journalism teacher passes, who is that journalism teacher? What a creep that guy was.
Oh, I don't remember.
I have to know here what his name was.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Mr. Raymaker?
Oh.
Kenneth Tegar?
Yeah, no, that guy's a great actor. I love him. I'll tell you what he plays in that you'll remember maybe.
Kenneth Tegar.
Hey, how about this? Lethal Weapon 2, when Murtaugh's on the can and the South African gangsters rig up the bomb to explode when he stands up from the toilet. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm looking up his IMDb right now.
He plays the bomb squad guy.
What year was
in
Lethal Weapon 2?
Probably like 88, 89, 90 maybe. Lethal Weapon 1 was 87.
He played in Alf.
Dude, he's been in a ton
He's
of
been in
stuff.
everything.
Oh, yeah, he's great. Great character actor.
I'm looking at... I don't see the Lethal Weapon.
Oh, yeah.
Lethal Weapon 3.
Oh, Lethal Weapon 3?
Yeah, 1992. He played Ernie the detective.
You skipped over Lethal Weapon 2.
Did I? Yeah, I did. You're right. Bomb Squad leader.
Thank you.
1989.
Yeah. Don't ever question.
Don't ever question Ira's knowledge of Kenneth Tegar's IMDb.
No, I'm talking about Lethal Weapon knowledge.
I've never pooped on the floor in a
Thank
public
you.
restaurant.
Who is that? Who is that? Look, Kenneth Tegar has been in literally everything ever made. He's been in a lot of stuff. He was in House of Cards. Actually, the most recent years of House of Cards, he was Walter Doyle.
Wait, the most recent season?
Yeah, after they cut
I haven't seen
the
that.
pederast.
I haven't seen that yet.
He was in The Good Wife. Law and Order. I like this guy, Kenneth T. Gar. But the bottom line is, just one of the guys, one of the classics from the 80s. Absolute classic.
Yeah. No, just one of the guys is awesome. You got Zapka, like, lifting up the school, the lunch table.
The lunch table.
So all the food would spill on somebody at the end of the table. And then Terry's like, yeah, let's commemorate Rick's ability to lift tables and spill food all over. Oh, no, actually, that was Rick that says all that.
Yeah.
And spill food all over the place. Hey, what's Zapka's name in the movie?
Zapka's name in this movie is Greg Tolan.
He's like, Greg, were you a messy baby? All right, Jay, we got to get out of here. We got 30 seconds. We got to get out of here.
Oh, what a day. I got a big day ahead of me. You got a big day ahead of you?
Yes, and yesterday was very busy, and today is as well.
There's always so much.
I know, and I've got to get this thing going.
This is my meditation hour. All right,
yeah, no,
I'm out of here. See you.
Seriously, adios, muchachos. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
The Fonz or Harry Potter. I'm watching this guy act, but yet my brain doesn't do that. It still doesn't process that.